Don't mumble. Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk Stroke. I am your host and stroke survivor, 14 years. Um, Jerry Wald. Almost forgot my name. But anyway, for those of you that are new to the show, first, thank you for being here. And also, I do the show to bring awareness to stroke, TBI, aphasia, really brain injury, and also bringing on in um, experts in health brain injury so they can show us what the brain's all alike, and also bringing on guests to share their journeys from all across the world. And also this morning I have on the show this morning is Heather with no A, just so you know that, Heather Flanigan. So she'll share her very inspiring journey, and so we'll get to that in just a second. But also, if you have not done it, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's called Let's Talk Stroke. And I appreciate, again, please ask questions and make comments. And that's it. We'll go ahead and get this show started. Whew, hang on. Alrighty, okay, got this all figured out here. So let's go ahead and bring on the wonderful Heather. Remember, there's no A in Heather, but she'll explain that. So hang on, and look forward to having you all on and asking questions. So please do.
Good morning. You
We
did
talked about
great.
we talked about aphasia. And wow, did I have just a
You
anyway?
did
That's
phenomenal, I think.
yeah. So I just want to make sure you can see, and I appreciate everybody here. And if you are asking questions, thank you. You can see the comments, correct?
I can see just four right now. Good
Yeah,
morning,
yeah.
everyone.
That's perfect. So, wow, Heather, it's nice to have you on. It's been a
Thank you. I'm
while.
so excited to be here. Honored, really, that you have invited me to come back.
Well, oh, absolutely. After the new people out here that have not, that maybe they know you, but they haven't seen your story or heard your story, which is pretty darn amazing. I'm
Thank you.
so happy for you for how positive you are. I mean,
Thank you.
right? I mean, we talked prior to well, kind of near the stroke time. And
Yeah, no, it's been quite a journey. I've definitely had my mental health moments.
yeah, I
I
know
am
how
a
that.
very positive person naturally, which is good, and that's
Yeah,
helpful. But I've
it
definitely
is.
had some very low moments and had to kind of find my way back to my positive self.
Yeah.
So,
Now we'll like rewind the clock.
okay.
Who was Heather before your stroke moment?
So I worked in the insurance business for about 16 years, and at the time of the stroke, I was a sales trainer training agents to sell Medicare supplement and Medicare Advantage plans.
Ah,
So I was an expert in Medicare, and I trained agents how to sell those
wow.
plans that you have to get when you get on Medicare because Medicare only covers like 80/20. So,
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of crazy now that, I mean, for me being on Medicare now, but with Barb's
yeah, I
insurance
know
too. So now you know.
I'm not on Medicare. I'm trying to stay and not get on it for as long as I can.
Yeah, no, yeah, and that's great because a lot of people, that's how they have it now. You know, you lose
Yeah,
your
well, and when
job.
you get on Social Security disability, after 25 months, they automatically put you on Medicare. You
Yeah,
have to prove that you have every coverage. So if you're still a working individual or if your spouse is working and you're under six, you really don't want to be on Medicare under 65 because it's just not very good.
yeah, yeah. I know. I'm on both. 63 on my wife plan, which is great. But I do
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
like you
usually
said.
employer group plans are better,
Yeah, absolutely. Wow.
in
So
my opinion,
you were
in
training.
my sort of educated opinion. Yeah, so I was a sales trainer. I worked my way through the insurance business over 16 years. So I held various roles all throughout that 16 years. And so lots of experience. And I still am a licensed agent, but I'm never going to go back to doing that again. But I still carry my insurance license because when I first started back in 2007, I started as an agent selling health insurance plans to self-employed people.
Oh, okay. Wow. That's
Yeah.
great. Wow. Then, what I always ask because they're all different. Do you know what led you, why you had the stroke? Was there a cause? Well, there is a cause, right?
Yes, yes. So I've always been super healthy. Like I've never even had a rash. I mean, literally, I'm the healthiest person. I've never had high blood pressure, never had high cholesterol. I worked out every day. I'm very particular with what I eat, always have been.
Wow.
And so when I had a massive stroke, they could not figure out why a healthy 47-year-old would have a massive stroke. And so they ran I mean, hundreds of tests. They were coming and taking blood constantly when I was in the hospital because they were trying to determine the cause, and they found that it was estrogen is what caused I had an ischemic stroke, so it was estrogen that caused the blood clot.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
So birth control pill. And
Yeah.
then they kept digging and looked a little deeper, and they found that I had a PFO in my heart. So unfortunately, and I didn't know what that was, and I never knew that I had that. I never had any health issues at all, and
What is
which
that?
they say is common. But a PFO, they say 1 in 4 people is born with that. I need to slow down. I'm going to get choked up.
Yeah. No,
1 in 4 people is born with a PFO, and but it closes like in 75% of the population it closes, and in 25% it doesn't close, and
yeah.
you never know that you have it until something happens. Unfortunately, is what the doctor said. So
Yeah.
being on birth control pill and having that was just a perfect storm for a stroke.
Right. Right. That's funny. Not funny, but
It's
it's
so,
amazing.
I
Yeah. It's
mean,
amazing that you mentioned that.
on the pill, I was 41 years old, and I asked the doctor, I said, what about all the things that people say about birth control pill? And my mom was always told me, don't get on the pill. Like, and so do I, and she's like, you're so healthy, you have nothing to worry about.
Right.
Because I was so active. I didn't even drink sodas.
Wow.
Yeah, I did. I was such a food snob. I still kind of am.
Yeah.
Total health nut.
That's a good thing, though.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Helps
So
with your
very, very,
recovery.
very healthy. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean,
So
I'll drink a soda every once because now I'm like, I had a stroke and I never drank sodas, so now I'm gonna have a soda every once in a while.
yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So you obviously went to the hospital and
Yes, yeah.
spent time
It's a
in the
long
ICU.
story, and I'm not very good at telling it in a short version, but
Yeah.
I woke up in the middle of the night and I had to go to the bathroom. And so I got up and I went to the bathroom, and then when I came back to bed, my heart was racing and I was sweating just at the very top of my head. And I didn't know what was going on because I'm so healthy.
Right.
So I was like, what is this? I'm like, am I in menopause? What is this? Is this a hot flash? Like I didn't know what it was. But it scared me because my heart was racing and I had never felt that way before.
Right.
So I
Wow.
woke my husband Randy, I woke him up and I said, something is wrong with me. I need medical attention. I don't know what's going on. And so he said, well, do you want me to take you to the hospital? You want me to call 911? Or maybe he's like, I think I can get you to the hospital faster if I get you to my truck. So let's go. And it was freezing cold. It was the night of February 28th in 2021.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so it was freezing cold. It was like 10 days after that big freeze in Texas where we all lost power.
Yes.
It was that. It was freezing cold. So he's like, well, I'm going to go get you a sweatshirt and maybe some shoes. And so he ran to our closet to go get me something to put on.
Right.
And then I started feeling sick to my stomach, like I was going to have diarrhea.
Yeah.
So I got up and I ran back to the bathroom, and then I had diarrhea. And I was sitting on the toilet, and all of a sudden he heard a noise. He heard a noise from the bathroom, like the ceramic, like I had hit the toilet or something. And so he came in, and I was leaning to the left against the wall, and he said, completely pale. And
Wow.
that's when he knew like something really bad has happened.
Wow.
So he helped me up, and I walked out to the car,
Wow.
and as soon as we got into the garage, I collapsed.
Wow.
And that was when he really knew. So he called 911 because
Wow.
he was like, this is not good. He's like, I don't know. I don't even know if I can get her up at this point because
Yeah.
I'm very tall too. And so, he called. So at that point, he called 911, and that's when they came and All I remember from that night is the beeping of the ambulance in the driveway.
Yeah.
I don't have any memory after that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I understand that. You spent 8 days in ICU.
Yeah, so they took me to the hospital and they came out. They told him, unfortunately, your wife's had a stroke, and we can't. The clot was so massive that we can't go in to retrieve it, and we can't give her TPA.
Yeah.
And even worse than that, her brain is swelling so badly, we're gonna have to remove her skull to allow her to live. And
Right.
so Randy was just crying, like he was like, "What? Like this is what? This is like the
Yeah.
healthiest woman in America. Like, what are you talking about?"
Right. All new to both
Yeah, I
of
mean,
you.
both of us in our 40, this like what? Never had any health, nothing. I mean, I have like the most immaculate genetic. I mean, I have no family history of anything in my family. I
Right.
mean, so healthy. And so it just shocked the heck out of everybody.
Right.
And so
Right.
they had to remove my skull though, because the brain was swelling so much, which they said is common in young brains, is what they
Right.
told me later. I'm like, well, I'm 47 years old. I'm like, how can that be common in young brain? They're like, no, you're like 20. I'm like, no, I'm 47.
Wow. Wow. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they
Yeah.
removed my skull, and I was in ICU for 8 or 9 days, and I was in the hospital for a total of 16 days.
Wow. Okay.
And then transferred to a rehab hospital after that hospital, after the acute.
Wow.
And
Okay.
so
So
then I
you.
was in a rehab hospital for 5 weeks after that. And then I went to a third facility for another 3 weeks.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Wow. What did your
Yeah.
family think? They must have been shocked when they
My
heard that.
mother was like, "What? A stroke? I've never seen anyone more careful about what she puts in her
Right.
mouth."
Right.
And so
Wow.
that's what my family, I mean, everybody was shocked. No one knew what to do. No one could believe it. It was the most unbelievable thing.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly. Because you took care of yourself. But it's
yeah,
funny you mentioned about the what'd you call it? That's a hole in the heart, right?
it's called PFO. It's a flap.
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
have it closed now. I got it closed in September of 2021. But
Okay.
yeah, it's called patent foramen ovale. I wrote about it in my book, and you can Google it.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. Yeah. And your book is Stroke of Luck.
Stroke of love.
Of Love. Okay.
Yes.
Stroke of Love on Amazon. Easiest way to probably find it.
Yeah, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and any local bookstore that orders from the Ingram catalog.
Okay.
But
Okay.
the reason I titled it Stroke of Love is because after the stroke, I noticed there's so many people, like people just are always there to help me, and so I feel like I'm surrounded by love all the time, and that's
Yeah.
why I called it that. Because before the stroke, when I walked into a room, everybody would like just turn and look at me and like walk away. I think because I was so tall and I'm so confident that I don't know,
Intimidate.
I look like a bulldozer coming in the room.
Now it's a little different.
Now, yeah, people are always rushing to come up to me and help me and open door. I mean, like it's all of a sudden like love is everywhere. These angels around me everywhere I go. It's so cool. So
Nice.
that's why I
Nice.
titled the book Stroke of Love.
Right. Right. Wow. So you spent about 5, 6, 7, 8, about 8 weeks really.
Well, 2 weeks at an acute care, 5 weeks at a rehab hospital, and then 3 weeks
Oh.
at a place called Neuro Restorative in Round Rock,
Okay.
which is
Okay.
which is an assisted living for people who've survived brain injury.
Wow. Wow. And so, wow. So Randy, your husband,
Yes,
was great, and I don't know what.
I call him Saint Randy,
Yeah, and your son,
and my son is Luke.
he
Yes,
must have been. I mean, well, so like,
yeah.
well,
I'm
now
sure. I
you
don't
don't know,
even know. I can't. I always say I can't even imagine what they felt or what they went through.
right?
It
Yeah,
was very, very. I mean, stroke affects the whole family for sure.
no doubt,
I
absolutely.
mean,
It's
for
a
sure.
yeah.
And my son was 15 at the time. He was sophomore in high school, and so that was just devastating.
No,
And he and I are so close because before I married Randy, I was a single mom for 9 years. So it was just Luke and I. And because my first marriage ended in divorce, unfortunately. So it was just Luke and I for 9 years. So Luke, I mean, I was his rock. I was his everything. I was
oh,
his
absolutely.
micromanager. So all of a sudden, he lost his whole world.
Yeah.
And
Oh
I
yeah.
think it shook everybody for sure to our core.
Right. Oh, there's no doubt. No doubt.
Because I ran the show
Yeah.
everywhere. I mean, I still kind of do, but I mean,
Yeah,
I literally ran the show before and did everything.
right,
I
right.
ran all the finances in the house. I ran the household.
Yeah. You
So,
know, that's one thing that um I talk about a lot is the finances. I did all mine, all of it. And so then when that happened,
yeah.
boy, things went to where. They went bad just because
They went to where exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
so but
Yeah, no,
finally,
Randy knew how to do it because Randy and I were really good partners. We both had been single parents prior to marrying each other. So we both knew how to run a household individually before. Unlike, a lot of marriages maybe where they never did that before. So Randy and I separately had the advantage of being single parents before we
that's
got
true.
together.
Right.
So our marriage really has always been a true partnership. He's the most partner person I've ever had in my life. He's my
That's
best
wonderful.
friend, he's the only partner I've ever had, really.
Yeah.
Because we definitely have a true partnership.
Wow.
But just my role in that partnership before the stroke was I paid all the bills and he
Sure.
made the money and our money just pooled together jointly, and then I was the one who kind of managed the checkbook, and I did made sure all the bills were paid on time, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
he had to take that over.
Right.
Obviously, when my skull was taken away and I'm laying in a hospital bed.
Yeah.
And
Now,
to this day, he still does it. And then slowly over time, we just incorporate me getting back into it to retrain my brain.
yeah, exactly.
But I lose focus and I can't remember things. And so I'm still not there yet. I'm still working.
Yeah.
I'm a work
But
in progress.
yeah, no, I completely understand. So what deficits now do you have? Because I know a lot of
I
people
have a
would see
lot.
you.
So I have hemiplegia on the left side. So the physical deficits are very obvious that I have, and I'm working on, and I've overcome a lot. I'm a lot better than I was, and I can do a lot more things now than I could do in the beginning.
Right.
And I think I've had the most recovery this year in year 3. So, which is also very interesting because, people always say the first year, I've had way more recovery this year in year 3 than I ever had in the first year. I
Yeah.
mean, like I could not even move my arm for 18 months. Couldn't
Yeah.
even move it, the whole
I
arm.
it's
And
funny, I
now
remember that.
year 3, I'm starting to move my arm and bringing my hand to my mouth and those kind of things. So
Yeah. You
be,
know,
being able to hold things in my hand, like just this year in year 3, I'm just now getting movement in my arm.
right. And it's a misnomer out there that like I think we talked yesterday. I was told I plateaued after a year and a half. That's it. Enjoy your life. This is it. But now,
Yeah,
like you
and
said,
I correct everybody on that word. There is
I
no such
think
thing as plateau. As long as you are alive and you are breathing, your brain is learning. Your brain is learning throughout your life.
right, rewiring itself.
I will correct a doctor.
Yeah.
I have literally told off therapists, corrected people. That's just who I am. And so I will tell people, I mean, in a nice, kind
I
way, but I will say there is no such thing as plateau until you flatline on that machine,
yeah.
whatever that machine is called. When your heart goes beep, that's when you plateau.
Yeah. I agree. But
Because
you're really
life is like this. We're always up and down.
and you've
And the
made so
brain
many
is
gains.
always learning.
Yeah, rewiring itself completely.
Every day your brain is learning.
Yeah. And
That's
you're
why it's so important to get out there and live your life. The best therapy is living your life.
yes, exactly. And you work at it like
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I
daily.
can't stop. I can't relax.
Yeah.
I finally learned this year from my amazing therapist that rest is productive. Michaela, my OT, she's like, Heather, rest is productive.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Yeah.
not for this girl. I never rest.
Yeah. I love Michaela. She's awesome.
She is the best therapist that I've ever had for sure.
Yeah. I
And I've learned
exactly.
so much from her. And having that education is empowering. Knowledge is power.
Right.
Just
Absolutely.
like that. Remember that old commercial that used to be like, the more you know? It's so true.
Yeah,
And
I
I am
know it.
such a nerd. I love that stuff. I am a nerd. That's why I became a sales trainer, because before that I was selling Medicare supplement plans, and no one would buy from me because I was over educating. And when you're a salesperson, you have to be quiet. You can't,
Y-
selling's
y-
not telling.
Right. Need to
So
listen. I
when I
know.
got to the point of educating consumers about Medicare, my boss is like, "You need to be a trainer. You need to be educating the agents because you
Right.
are like."
Right.
Because that's what I do. I dive in when I find something that I like, or something that I like. Now it's stroke rehab and brain injury. So
Right.
I nerd out on it. I become totally knowledgeable and research it and try to learn as much as possible.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Um, Will, let's see, you could see the comments here. Yeah, it's, just
I'm
a
trying to
survivor.
read this one. It's interesting how often survivors say the opposite of medical recent years. Yes, yeah, I think more and more now. I mean,
Yeah.
and like I said before, I never really was told. You know what's so funny is when people who were told that they were told and they were never going to walk again, or they were, like I think you, Jerry, have said that people have said those discouraging, stupid things to you.
Yeah.
I've had two different times of that, but initially, when I was first in the hospital, um, to be in the 40s again. I just turned 51 to Mike. Mike said, ought to be in the 40s again.
Yeah. Oh, oh, hey, Mike. Yeah, to be in for, I know,
Oh, so
right?
I was gonna say that. So one of the days when I was in the hospital, very very early on, before I really even knew what happened to me, they were in the where I was at the hospital is a teaching hospital, and it's also a stroke level one center or whatever.
Right.
But it's a teaching hospital, so there was like in my room, in my hospital room, was like five doctors, probably residents or people, fellows, whatever. It was like a group of doctors, and they
Right.
were trying to talk to me and Randy about antidepressants and how studies show that antidepressants after stroke, that a percentage of strokes are. And I was sitting there in the bed, not even realizing what happened to me. And I was like, nah, I don't need that. I don't need it. I'm not a depressed. When I was little, they called me Happy Heather. I'm like, I don't need. I'm pretty gritty. And then Randy's like, no, she's pretty gritty. And then this one guy, one of the doctors looked at me. He's like, well, then you'll make a full recovery. And I'm like, well, good.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear.
But he's right. When you're gritty and you're mentally tough, you will make a full recovery.
Yeah,
Because stroke is not for the weak, as we all know.
that's it. Exactly. It's
And
not
I'll
for
never
sure.
forget when he told me that, because then I got home and I'm like, where is this full recovery?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he didn't say it'll take time. He just said, well, you'll make a full recovery. Because I was like, I don't need any antidepressant. I'm like, I'm happy. I don't
Yeah.
need. I said, no, I'm tough minded.
Yeah.
But I had no idea what I was talking. I had no idea what I was talking about because I didn't know. I mean, I was always tough minded, but stroke will really make you tough minded.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you
When
take
you're
any
pooping
meds?
yourself and you can't get to the, you're pooping and peeing yourself and you can't walk, and that'll make you tough minded.
Yeah, exactly. They're showering you. They're doing everything.
Right? Yeah,
I mean,
that'll
that's,
make you gritty.
yeah, it
You
does.
will learn what grit is.
Yeah, it's tough. Those days, it really makes your pride. You gotta suck up your pride. Just to,
Yeah. Oh, and
wow.
I don't really care about the pride. I mean, that part I didn't care,
Yeah,
but I just have this unshakable faith and belief in myself, and I know who my God is. So for me, I've always been very ballsy and and I always was before the stroke. I think before the stroke, it came off in more of an angry kind of way.
really.
Yeah, I mean, well,
Can't picture you.
not angry like blowing up angry,
Right.
but like if somebody was doing something wrong, I would be the first one to say, you're not supposed to be doing that. Like I'm
Right.
just fearless, and I'm confrontational. I would so the stroke has definitely made me a lot softer.
Yeah. I can't picture you um, mean at people. I mean, just
No, no, I've never been mean. No, I'm very sweet. No, I'm not mean.
yeah,
Maybe Luke is laughing. Maybe I'm mean to like my family or close people, but not
yeah. Not
poor
mean, but
Randy.
yeah,
I mean, if I get on a tyrant, then I can be. But no, not
yeah,
out in the world. I'm very sweet,
yeah,
but
yeah.
what I mean is that just fearless of like not afraid to speak up for justice or
Yeah. That's
something
maybe
like
what I
that.
meant.
That's kind of what I mean. Like
Yeah.
not.
Not me. Things come out in my mouth, maybe.
No, it's
Not me.
you're fine.
Yeah,
You're doing
yeah,
great.
so funny. But yeah, it's yeah, it is crazy what you're going through. And now you're posting all your stuff. You're really mainly Instagram.
Yeah, yeah. I don't use Facebook a lot. I just kind of check my I mean, but now because of Meta, everything you post on Instagram comes to Facebook.
Yeah, yeah. It's and it's Heather with no A is her
That's right,
your
Heather with
handle,
no
I guess.
A. Yeah. And well, I put that as my handle on Instagram because people always ask, "Is your name spelled?" I'm like, "Yes, no, my dad named me. That's the way he spelled it. I've had to respell my name my whole life."
Yeah.
So I just said I'm just going to make my name on Instagram Heather with no A, so people know it's intentional.
Yeah.
That is my legal birth given name.
Right. Right. Exactly. So your therapy, how often do you do therapy? Besides, I mean, you mentioned something about therapist, not Michaela, your OT, but um, what's the name of the place you go to?
Oh, I don't know.
When
Oh,
you
I
go
do
to,
CrossFit.
yeah, CrossFit, that you have somebody there that really is like,
Yeah, my trainer Jeremiah, he's the owner of he's a chiropractor too. So
oh,
which is another way God places these angels in my life, which ties back to why I call it the book Stroke of Love. Because my whole life, when I reflect back, I always just some people say it's the luck of the Irish. It's not luck, it's God.
right, right, yeah,
That
but
to me is my like I always get the best parking, and so Randy will always say, "Give me some of that Flanigan luck," and I'm like, "That's not Flanigan luck. That is God."
yeah,
No, and actually, the reason I get the best parking space is the power of the brain because I say I always get I brag. I'm like I always get the best parking, and so sure enough, we pull in the parking lot, and there's a parking spot. That's because that's the power of our mind. If you say it and you believe it, that's what will happen. That's why it's so important what you tell yourself.
yeah,
You know, you hear all those inspire, you know, you tell yourself I'm a winner, I am strong, and then you will be a winner and you will be strong. That's whatever you tell yourself is what you will be.
right, absolutely.
Just
Did you
like how I say I always get the best parking and miraculously I always do.
now when you oh lost train of thought
Yes, a
here.
strong mind. Yeah, strong
Yeah,
faith, strong mind. Yes.
yeah, yeah. You have to love yourself.
You do, yeah. And
You,
I've always been preaching that. I think now it's just a lot more accepted. Like maybe before people are like, ah,
yeah,
it's easy to say when you have the life you have. Well, okay, well, I've been through a lot of hard things too, but I'm still pretty gritty and pretty tough and I
yeah,
work hard and I do the right thing and I'm kind to people and I believe in goodness and I have a lot of love in me. And so I believe that I share that and that's why it comes around to me.
right, right. Do you go? Do you
You get what you give.
that? Yeah, absolutely. So you're not taking the meds as far as the
No, no,
antidepressant.
no. I was like, no, I don't need that. Now there have been times when I came home I got really really sad because the full recovery wasn't there like I had thought.
Right.
And so I
Yeah.
went through a time where I was just devastated. And I
Yeah.
was like, why did I live? I don't know why I lived. What am I going to do? Because so much of who I am was tied to my physicality.
Right. Right.
So because I have a different physicality now, I didn't know who I was.
Right.
Um,
Absolutely.
you know,
So
because
you.
before I was this kind of, you know, boss bitch person and like dominate. I ran the show everywhere I went, and you know, I was always in heels. Yeah, because I'm 5'9", so I came in a room and here comes this 6'1" girl who's like perfectly prim and properly, you know, always coiffed, you know, everything perfect because I'm very type A and perfectionist too. So I think that's why people would move out of the way when I would people when in my office people would tell me all the time that I was intimidating
Yeah. Yeah.
and men would say that I'm emasculating.
Really.
So, and that's because I say what I think and I do I you know I speak it and I back it up.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
people were intimidated by me, I guess. But
Right.
now with a much more vulnerable demeanor because of hemiplegia, it presents itself in a different way.
Right. Right. Wow. So
So
so what's your daily routine now?
oh, I'm working from the moment I mean, I cannot stop. And that is from my work ethic. And I've had to learn to relax. And I've
Yeah.
had to learn to slow down. So my personality and my work ethic, I'm just constantly working. I feel like I have to be doing therapy all the time because I'm so driven.
Yeah.
I mean, and that comes from, you know, being in sales for so many years and then a sales trainer. I was in a highly productive working environment. So that was what my brain was wired to do. So after the stroke, I got really, really sad when I came home because I could no longer wear my high heels and I could no longer put on my Ann Taylor outfits and look the same. I couldn't get up and go to work. I didn't know what to do with myself because I've been working for 25 years. You know, I didn't know what to do. So I was just devastated.
Right.
So I went through a whole period where I had to learn to slow down and kind of be with that sadness. You know, and you have to grow through it. You have to sit with it and go with it. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
learned to meditate. I learned to like calm down.
Wow.
but I
Well,
was doing therapy all the time too. As
have
much
you?
as doing my home exercise, all the time trying to work. I would walk, I would listen to podcasts and walk laps. So I was dual tasking, and habit stacking. I was training my mind and working on myself while also working on my walking.
Right, right. Wow,
Habit stacking, that's like what Maddie, it's a big thing. You have to, that's what productive people do.
absolutely. Yeah, Mike, Dose Megan. I'm I'm glad
Yeah,
that
and then
we ever went
it
through
does
that.
take time to read, because then after I went through the sadness part, then it turned into anxiety
Right,
because I was so sad. And then I realized, like, I was on Instagram and I started talking with you and meeting other survivors, and they were doing so. And I'm like, well, if they can do that well, I can do that well.
right,
And so
right.
then I started getting all anxious, and like that's when I started like not being able to sit still or sleep or relax because
Yeah,
I'm like I got to be walking all the time. I need
yeah,
to lift weights. I need to go be. If they say I have left, because the doctors would say she has left side weakness. I'd be like, okay, you want to call it weakness? I can't even move my damn arm. That's
yeah.
pretty weak.
That's not weak. I know the feeling. I mean, yeah,
So I'm like, okay, then I need to lift weights. And I saw a page on Instagram called Fit to Function Recovery,
hmm,
and which with Jenna, who works with people with stroke, brain injury, and any neurological issues. She specialized, and so I reached out to her and wanted to train with her. So she trained with me 2 months virtually on scholarship, and
wow,
then I would drive myself to the gym here in Salado, and this was maybe like 18 or no 15 months post stroke. And
right,
I was also doing therapy with Rehab Without Walls that were coming to my home
right.
like twice, 2 to 3 times per week. So I was doing that too. And then I would, on my days where I didn't have therapy, I was going to the gym near my house and I would drive myself there
Ah, so you're
because
driving.
it's super close and it's like, just, little town Salado. You can just drive 20 miles an hour through the neighborhood and go there. And so I practiced first driving with my occupational therapist. And then,
Ah,
then once they were like, my husband and them, they were like, she's okay. She can drive. And
wow,
so I just drive like locally, just nearby.
wow. So you didn't lose your license?
No, no. And I passed the driving test.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Wow. Good.
So all of
Uh,
that, I didn't lose my license.
wow. Did your doctor like report it? Because mine they didn't. I just
No, yeah, no, they didn't.
yeah, absolutely. Um,
So then so when I started working with Jenna virtually from Fit to Function Recovery, then I was like, I really feel like I need I need someone in person. And she's like, "Oh, well, you should find a CrossFit gym near you."
oh
And
wow.
I was like, "Well, I said I live in a tiny little town. There's no CrossFit gym here." And my
Right, right.
PT at the time was like, she started looking. One day we were at the gym and I was on the little SciFit bike moving my arm, and she was like, "There is a CrossFit gym here near you." So, and this was in 2022. So we went, that's when I reached out to Jeremiah, the owner, and we went and met with him, and he agreed to work with me. And so then I've been working with him ever since. And
Wow.
now I used to see him just once a week. Now I see him twice a week.
Nice. Good. Yeah. So good that you're
So that's when I
sticking
started
with it.
doing CrossFit. Yeah, I started doing CrossFit in September of 22,
Wow.
18 months post.
And his name is Jeremiah too.
Yeah, his
How
name's
funny.
Jeremiah. Yeah.
Because you met the other Jeremiah who was on the
Yeah,
show.
yeah, because I have a neural, so yeah, the CEO of Psionic. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 days ago. How funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. This. Yeah, Mike. I know. I know. In the beginning, my family wouldn't even get in the car with me.
I don't know. What does he mean, never quit driving? Of course, like who would quit driving unless they were told to? Like who said,
Right, when he
what does
had a
that
stroke.
mean? Oh, yeah, no, and I think maybe in Texas they don't take your license. I don't know. I know in California they do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And if you have a seizure, you're not supposed to drive for some. My therapist told
Right,
me
because that's dangerous for sure. I mean,
that.
I
Yeah.
luckily I've never had a seizure, thank God.
Good. Good for you. That's awesome. So
Yeah.
you're not on, obviously no seizure meds.
Yeah, no, no, very healthy, no medication. I'm good.
Yeah, you're good to go on that.
I'm good to go.
Wow. Wow.
I'm
So,
good to work out. I'm good to lift weights. I go twice a week. And then I also work out every other day at my house. I work out like a maniac. And I do therapy 3 times a week as well. So CrossFit twice a week and therapy 3 times a week.
wow, that's the only way. it's better than being complacent, doing nothing. I mean, I'm glad you're
Yeah,
doing
for
all.
me, I mean, I learned in the first year, the more therapy you can do, the better. So
Yeah.
what I do because of who I am and what a nerd I am, I look for every opportunity to do therapy, and that's what I did in the first year. So when I discharged from Rehab Without Walls, my therapist was like, you can get therapy because they knew I was such a go-getter and they knew I wanted to keep doing therapy. And so she's like, you can go to a university and get therapy with the students. So I do
Oh,
that every Monday. I go get
nice.
therapy at the University of Mary Hardin Baylor in Belton
Wow. Okay.
with the students, and it's like great. I'm their guinea pig. They learn from me and I teach them so much. So I'm taking my sales trainer skills to teach them all about neuro rehab.
Yeah, I love going with students.
Yes, I
You know,
love it too because they're
yeah.
learning and they get to feel what tone and spasticity feels like, and they get to think of, I always tell them all, you need to be neurotherapists
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
my neuro PT told me there's only 4,000 neuro PTs nationwide.
Wow. Okay, interesting. Yeah. I have one too that I go to, not as much, but she's a neuro PT, and that's what a difference they are.
Yeah, you have to see neuro because
Yeah,
that they're going to know the most, obviously.
yeah,
And they're going to help
absolutely.
to educate you, which will only empower you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So try
Absolutely.
to find neuro if you can.
Were you
And there's
prepared?
also different types of neurotherapists.
Yeah, yeah,
There's some that like the company Rehab Without Walls, they specialize in working with stroke, brain injury, and spinal cord injury,
yeah.
but they're not neuro PTs. They're just like brain injury certified.
Okay,
So they're
okay.
like a different level. And they're very good. I worked with them twice. I love that company.
Right, right. Wow.
Rehab Without, their whole thing is about getting back out into the community.
Right, right.
Okay, somebody wants to hear about my neural sleeve. Who is that? I can't see the name. Will
But
would love to hear about your experience with the neural sleeve.
yeah, I think I was going to say that because you obviously met and know
Yeah,
the
I was one
owners.
of the early adopters because I was on Instagram all the time. I saw them before they even like really long. I mean, it was like literally right after they got FDA approval. I was contacting them because I'm
Yeah, so
such a
tell us
nerd and
about it.
because I'm so driven to get better. So I wanted everything. I reach, I look for everything I can find.
Yeah, anything. I
So
know.
my experience, I love Psionic has been great. The
Yeah,
neural sleeve, unfortunately, has not ever worked fully for me, but I've had it for 2 years. And the reason it doesn't work for me fully, I mean, it works pretty well for me, but it doesn't lift my foot because I have extremely high tone in my gastroc and my posterior tibialis. So my foot is in constant plantar flexion. If I don't know if you know what that means. My foot points down.
yeah.
I joked with Andrew, my neuro PT. I said, Andrew, do you think because I wore high heels for 2 decades that I hardwired my brain to go like this?
That may
Like
be.
I hardwired my brain and my foot to do
Yeah,
this? And he's like, maybe.
it makes
He's
sense.
like, you're pretty smart, Heather. I'm like,
Yeah,
I think because I was in high heels for 2 years or 2 decades. I mean, literally, I wore high heels every day, Monday through Friday for 20 years.
right,
And
right,
so I'm like, maybe I made neural pathways in my brain before the stroke that made my foot go into plantar flexion.
right.
But I don't know if that's true or not. I just jokingly say that.
Now, but your
So
neurosleeve is out there getting, I don't know how to say that, fixed, or there's a
no,
better
no, I
word.
have it here. I mean,
Oh, you do?
they've had to send me two different ones because I had one and then it wouldn't work and we had to send it back and they sent me another one and then they had to fix that one and then they sent me another. So I think I have had three. But
Yeah, but
no, I wore it yesterday. I mean, it's just not safe for me to go and like walk with no cane like I can do with the AFO because of the tone in the back of my calf. There's
right,
such high tone in the posterior, the back of the calf that all of the muscles in the front that lift the foot, like the anterior tib and all those tiny little muscles that lift your foot up,
yeah,
are fighting against all the tone I have in the back.
yeah,
So because the back of the calf has such high tone, the E-stem on the neural sleeve cannot stimulate the muscles in the front of the foot enough to pick it up.
right.
So once I'm going to have surgery to
On the foot.
lengthen those in September.
Okay.
I finally decided after I interviewed 4 different doctors and they all said different things until the fourth one, and then I said, okay, you're the one. And I researched it and I talked to other survivors who had the surgery Because at first I was like, I don't want to cut my body permanently. Like, that's ridiculous. So for like 5 months, I researched and researched and researched the surgery.
Okay, so
So
that's
sorry, we got on a tangent about,
yep.
let me get back to Will here about the neuro. So the company Psionic is amazing, and they
Okay.
have, who's Mike High Heels? Sorry,
I
the
know.
Psionic, the company is amazing to work with, and they have worked so well with me and because every stroke is different, every
Yeah.
survivor is different, and the effects on everyone are different. And I just have super high tone in the calf and in the foot.
Yeah.
Like someone just
Understand.
asked something about the calf. We don't want to make my calf muscles are strong and very tight.
Yeah.
So we don't need anything. A calf raising machine would actually make it worse. We need the calf muscles to relax. We need them to open because they're so like this. So they're pushing my foot down.
Right.
So what
Yeah.
the surgery is going to do is it's going to lengthen them to get to ease up on some of that tightness.
Okay. They're taking the muscles somewhere else or the.
No, no, no. They're just gonna link. They put like 3 slits in the muscle to make
Okay.
it like an accordion, so it'll kind of go open more.
Wow. How do you feel? Are
So
you
that way
like?
I can lift my so that way I can lift my foot and get out of inversion.
Yeah.
I walk with no brace every day. Like right now, no brace.
Wow. Okay.
And
No.
but just in my house, I mean, I don't go on like a 30-minute walk with no brace because that would be too hard and too
Yeah.
much of a risk.
Understand that. Yeah.
So when I go to CrossFit and I do those things, I wear an AFO.
Yeah. Same. Yeah. Not same. I wear the AFO a lot.
And
But
so
not in the house. It's fine.
the neural sleeve the intention was for it to replace the AFO
Yeah.
completely, but because of the high tone that I have, it hasn't been able to do that yet. But
Right.
after the surgery, it should be able to do that.
That'd be great. That's good stuff there.
Yeah.
Wow.
So my toes are curling now, and that's the main part of the surgery they're going to do is fix my toes because toes are so important for mobility.
Oh yeah.
And
You need your
so
toes.
first my foot was inverted, and tone and spasticity change over time. I was super loosey goosey for like 2.5 years.
Right.
My ankle would just go bloop,
Yeah.
would just flop, and now it's like tighter, pushing down,
Wow. Wow. That's
and then the toes. So the all the tone in my body is that in the bottom of the foot and the back of the calf.
right. Wow. So back when you had your stroke, we had people showering us and all that. How's it going now? As far as can you take care of yourself?
Well, yeah, oh yeah. I like this morning I woke up at 5 and I fed the dogs and got myself coffee and yes, I can take care of myself,
Good.
but not fully. I still rely on Randy for a lot of things.
Yeah.
And because I'm such a queen,
Yeah.
and because he treats me like royalty, it's kind of hard. So I can shower independently, and I did shower fully independently actually for the first time one day last week.
Wow.
On Tuesday last week, I showered for the first time completely independently.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I showered for the first time alone in January.
Wow. That's awesome. That's these you're walking because I have a walk-in shower. It's not one of the showers you have to step in. Mine just I
Mhm.
can yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
All he
nice.
does is he'll like help me pump the shampoo in my hand and stuff like that. So he'll
Wow.
do like little things to make it easier on me.
That's awesome.
But
Those
otherwise, I do everything. So last Tuesday, he was out of town, and so I showered completely on my own. So I can do it on my own, but he comes in and I call it like fluffy help. He helps me with the cushy stuff.
yeah.
Like he'll help me put the conditioner in my hair, or he'll help pump the shampoo in my. He'll help me put on my deodorant. He'll do things like that.
Yeah. That's
Just like 5-star service type of
right.
help,
That's awesome.
like Four Seasons type of help.
Yeah. You need that. Or it's nice to have
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. It's so nice to have that.
Yeah.
It makes the shower go by faster
Right. Absolutely.
and less tight. Like he'll help me dry myself so that it goes so much faster.
Right. Do
He'll
you
do
have
those kind of
do
things.
you have any clonus? Or
Not really. No, it doesn't. I don't really. I mean, there in the beginning, I did my leg would shake a little, but I do a lot of weight bearing now, and that kind of helps to get rid of it.
good. Good for you. Yeah, because it's so important, weight bearing.
Yeah, the more you're walking, and like when I started doing CrossFit, actually, I never got clonus again.
Right. God, that's great. Do you feel you were, when you left the hospital, that you were like you had all the knowledge and all the information you need?
No, no, no. I've learned everything from other survivors, like
Yeah.
from you and from Maddie and from Instagram and just talking to other survivors and research on my own.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to
Oh,
advocate for
sorry,
yourself.
Will. I misunderstood. Okay, the tibia machine works the front muscle. I don't know what that is, but I'll have to look into it. Yeah, I'm excited about the surgery. There's two other people I've talked to that had the surgery, and they are now walking with no AFO, nothing. They're fine.
Wow. Wonder how
And
long it took.
that's my ultimate goal is to have no break, not need anything.
Yeah, I thought about doing that too, but I'm just nervous about somebody, is it going to screw me
Me
up or
too. I was too. And it's very minimal though. Like in my case, all they're doing mainly is they're gonna my big toe and my second toe started curling at the end of last year. And
right?
so he's gonna fix the toe. He's gonna do something called the Jones procedure on my big toe. And
Wow.
then the second toe, they're just gonna release those tendons. It'll make my toes lay flat.
Wow. I,
Because my toes when I'm in weight bearing, so when I'm standing the toes curl down. It's like they're trying to dig to hell or something. So when I'm in the shower it's the worst.
yeah. No, I completely understand that.
And so the
Um,
toes are the most painful, and that's also why I have such a hard time wearing the AFO, because the AFO hurts because the toes are trying to crunch down on in it. And so it's just so the way the doctors phrase it is we're going to make your foot a more braceable foot.
wow.
But the way
Okay.
I phrase it is you're going to make my foot able to wear no brace. Because right now I can walk fine with no brace, but I just have to be very careful of how I step.
Wow.
And I
Good for
do
you.
that every day. I mean, for years, for 2 years, I've been walking every day with no brace in my house and
Right.
everywhere.
Right. Yeah.
Because my biggest problem before was inverted. My
Yeah.
ankle would roll. But
No, no more.
I've learned compensation techniques that I taught myself of how to get my foot flat before I take my step.
Right. I have
So
a,
I can't travel or go like on long walks without a brace, but
right.
or
Right.
not yet anyway. You have
Wow.
to say not yet. If you say you can't, then you never will, because can't never could.
That's very true.
You have to
Do,
say not yet.
have you, I mean, this one technique is probably the dumbest thing, but it's not for me. If I'm walking without my brace, my right hand, which is my affected side,
Yeah.
if I lift my hand
I know
up,
where you're going. I know where you're going. Same with
with,
me.
oh,
When I'm working on my arm exercises, my foot will come up too.
okay, all right, that's what I was getting at.
Yeah,
All
it's
right,
like that brain power is going all the way down the left side. I'll joke with Michaela when I'm trying to lift my hand to my mouth. Like, let me try. This is something that I've just learned, and when I try to put my hand to my mouth,
right,
like I literally did it yesterday for the first time.
nice.
So I haven't practiced it, but my foot will come up.
Yeah, that's the same thing. It's funny how that
Yeah, it
happens,
is.
And you're,
That's the brain. When I yawn, my hand will come up.
yeah,
And I think it's because I always cover my mouth when I yawn. And so I think those neural pathways are still there. And so the hand just comes up automatically.
yeah,
The
the same
first
thing.
rehab doctor I had, she said, "It's your party trick." I'm like, "It's not party trick." I'm like, "That is so dorky. That is not my party trick."
Yeah, oh, that's funny. Same thing. Wow. So no subluxation in your shoulder?
Yes.
Okay,
And I work on that. I do shoulder shrugs all day. I mean, I'm constantly working. You might have had conversations with me where you see me and I'm constantly lifting it or doing. I mean, I do like 5,000 a day.
yeah, yeah, but it helps, and you have
You
to do
have
that.
to, yeah, because now I don't have it.
Right, right.
Oh,
Wow.
today is 6 years since her stroke.
You
Lynn's
know,
life.
how do we answer that?
Happy
Lynn,
stroke anniversary. Well, how do you feel
there you
is how
go.
we answer that. I think
Yeah,
the
because
first
that's like,
question is, how do you feel about it?
yeah. Do we say, hey, congratulations,
I know.
congratulations, or no, happy stroke anniversary, or
6 years, that's a long time. I'm only
yeah,
3 years out.
yeah, that's awesome,
You
Lynn.
can get there, trust. Oh, I know I can, and I know I will.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I'm a
10,000 miles.
survivor with toe curl and just growth. 10,000 miles of running earlier this summer. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I know. And I thank you for that, Will. I have
awesome.
more belief in myself than anyone. Like, I know that I will get there. I know I'll be running. And people look at me like I'm crazy when I say that. But I can tell you the only reason I'm even walking is because I am delusional. I told the doctor when I was in a wheelchair, and they were fit. They one of my PT sessions when I was at Encompass Rehab, they were fitting me for a wheelchair, and I was like, I don't know why you're wasting my PT session. I'm like, I need to be walking.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm never gonna be in a wheelchair. I don't know why you're putting me in this wheelchair. I will never be in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And he just looked at
Absolutely.
me like
Yeah.
I was crazy.
But
But
now look at you.
I told the doctor, I am walking out of this hospital. I am not gonna be in a wheelchair.
Right. And you,
So
yeah. So
I did.
you
Because what
still,
you say you do, you will do.
right, right. You still have the wheelchair?
No,
Not even in the house.
no. Are you kidding me?
Good for you. Yeah.
We donated it.
Yeah. Oh, did you? Yeah. No,
Yeah, we were. I mean, I had it. I was in a wheelchair for maybe 2 months, and I would walk short distance with a Hemi walker.
yeah.
But once I started walking within the quad, I graduated from Hemi walker to quad cane. And once I was with the quad cane, we had the wheelchair in our closet at our old house. We bought this one in December. But
Right.
anyway, we had the wheelchair in our closet. And one day I told Randy, I said, you know what, we should just donate it. And we're big on clearing out clutter, especially when we were selling our house and we were about to
Yeah.
move. So we donated the wheelchair to Rehab Without Walls. They were like, thank you so much. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to need that.
I know. I'm glad I kept
I'm
mine.
like, I'm going to be running.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
I
like, you're
kept
going to see
mine.
me at 60 running marathons.
I know. You do what you have to do. I mean, you can do
Yeah,
it.
you do what you
But
say you're going to do.
yeah,
You
absolutely.
speak it and it will happen.
Yeah. Wow. So what do you tell people out there that are newbie stroke survivors or something like a brain
I
injury?
tell people to go through it, and I tell people don't compare yourself to others, but use what other people do to fuel you and to let you know that you can. And I always tell people you can and you will get better. Keep working. You have to work though. You have to
Yeah.
work. It's a marathon, not a sprint. You got to work, and you
Yeah.
have to be willing to work. You got to be gritty. You got to be mentally tough.
Yeah. And definitely.
My
Like I
eye is
said,
constantly watering.
yeah. Stroke is not for the weak. It's something I say
No,
all
and
the
it's
time.
as much it's a more a head game than it is a physical game. I think
Yes.
people so much focus on the physical, but stroke is really a mental game.
Oh, yeah.
You have to really tune in your mental health too.
Yeah.
And you have to have that attitude. You have to be confident in yourself to the point of delusion where people will look at you and say you are freaking crazy.
Yeah.
Like, yep, you're damn right I am, and I'm gonna be walking crazy too.
Yeah. Exactly. I may limp around, but I'm still,
Right, yeah.
you know,
No, that's why I joke and say I'm delusional, because I'm not really. I'm very real and very realistic.
yeah.
But I have optimism to the point of delusion, and I think that that is necessary because your brain is so powerful that whatever you tell it, it will do. It's a computer.
Yeah.
Whatever programs you're running is what your brain's gonna do. Because
Yeah.
you put in your brain you're broke, you're gonna be broke. You put in your brain I'm a winner and I'm strong. You're gonna be a winner and you're gonna be strong.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have to believe in what you tell yourself.
Absolutely.
And you
That's
have
right.
to
Yeah.
fight. You have to be a fighter.
Exactly. Man,
Because
so positive.
there's gonna be times where it hurts, and there's times where I've had times where I've literally gone to a doctor's appointment and I pooped myself
Yeah.
because I couldn't control the muscles, and so the poop just came out. I mean, how embarrassing. Here's this fancy girl, former model, so fancy, high heels and Taylor, elevate, and then I'm pooping myself at the doctor's office. I had to call Randy at work. He had to bring me extra clothes. It was so awful. It was smelly. I mean, talk about a humbling, how the mighty have fallen. The queen is down.
I, oh gosh, it's so funny because I think a
But
lot
you
of us
got to keep
know.
fighting. You have to say, you know what? You have to just start laughing. You have to say, okay, this is my.
Yeah, I know. Totally understand. I mean,
Yeah.
who hasn't been there in some
Yeah,
sort
I
of
mean, I
way?
was completely incontinent for a long time,
Yeah.
both the bladder and bowel. I had to learn how to swallow again.
Yeah.
I still choke a lot. So I
Yeah.
mean, it's not for the weak. You have to go through those moments, and you have to keep fighting. You have to
Yeah.
have the fight in you. I'm like, good thing I'm an Irish stubborn fighter.
Yeah. No, I completely understand there. Wow. So what last things would you say now? You know.
Oh, I would tell everybody, keep going, never give up. This is what my necklace says. You know the Winston Churchill
Yeah.
quote, never, 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 never give up. This
Right.
was when my dad died in a car accident. And my dad was like the most stubborn, determined Irishman you'd
Right.
ever met. But this charm was, they sent me all of his stuff when he died, because he died in a car accident. And this charm was in his pocket apparently. And it says, never, 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 never give it. I'm like, this is God giving this to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I kept it in a jewelry box for years. And then finally, Randy and I bought a necklace to put it on. But my dad just had it in his pocket.
Wow.
But it said never, it says never, 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 never give up. So that's what I would close with.
Yeah.
Never give up. Just like Lynn's like, never give up. You have to fight, fight, fight.
Absolutely. No kidding.
Even in the dark moment, get your mental health in check, get a positive mindset, do whatever you need to do. Pray, watch motivational videos. That's why I share motivational videos a lot on Instagram, because I'm all about it.
Right.
And that's what I used to do for my agents when I was training them, because in sales you have to be the same way, because you get told no all day long. So you have to be
absolutely.
You have to be positive, and every no leads to a yes.
Absolutely. Do you have a copy of your book right there?
I do.
Well, we can probably, let me do
Can you see it?
yeah, I'm gonna,
It's hard.
yeah, I'm gonna move me out.
Hard to see it, but stroke of love. And the biggest thing about my book is what I talk about the most. I wrote about my life, because I didn't know what to write, and my speech and my OT were like, you have to write. You are the most motivated, inspiring person. You have to write a book. And they're like, everything in your life, every time you've been tried to knock down, you just fought it and you believed and you just kept going.
Yeah.
You're like a bulldozer. And Randy used to joke before the stroke. He would joke with his friends, or he'd be like, I'm going to get my pit bull on you. Thank you, Lynn. She said, awesome. I love your necklace. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's now close to my heart. It's from my dad. And so that I carry it with me, that Flanigan spirit. That's what we call that. Never give up.
Yeah.
But anyway, so my therapists, they all were like demanding that, because I talk so much and they heard my whole life. And I was like, that is so cliche. I almost died. I'm not going to write a book, because I was a very private person. And I'm like, what am I going to write about? And the stroke was only 1 year prior.
Right.
And so I was like, I don't have enough about the stroke to write about the stroke. And so what do I write? They said, just write about your life, because everything in your life shows that your determination and your faith and your love that's within you has gotten you through these things.
Right. And it has.
And I believe that. And I believe that what you put out is what you get back. And so if you believe in yourself, and don't ever let anyone tell you no, or tell you that you can't do something. Only you and God can decide what you can do.
Right.
Don't let a doctor doesn't know better than what God knows, and better than what you know. And a therapist doesn't know better than what you know. I mean, you know yourself.
Right, right.
So you have to, I had one doctor point at my arm and go, that may never come back. I was like, I was basically like, F you, watch it. It's going to come back big time. It's going to come back, and I'll come back and punch you in the face with it.
The doctor told you that.
Yeah, this doctor, who's coincidentally one of the only brain certified doctors of physical medicine in Austin, and he's a crock, because he pointed at, he doesn't know anything. He pointed at my arm. He's like, that may never come back. And I'm moving it. This year I ate a banana with it. So
yeah.
I'm slowly getting there, and it will come back, because I'm going to work for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man, I know. I hate when people do that, say that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I had one PT tell me I would likely never walk without an AFO. And I told him that is bullshit, and clearly you don't know what you're talking about. Right. And he was so ego hurt that I had to stop seeing him, which is fine, because 2 weeks later I was walking to my house with no AFO.
Right. God.
But because I'm ballsy and because I'm confident, and I told him that, he's like, what do you know? Are you a doctor? And I'm like, no, I'm Hether Flanigan, and I know that I can walk without an AFO. And then 2 weeks later, I was walking barefoot in my house with no AFO. Yes, and I wrote about that story in the book.
Nice. It's
but he was a jerk. You don't tell people. First of all, you don't say that, because you don't say that to someone who's been through what we've been through. Number one. Number two, you don't say it because it's just not true. Number three, you don't say that because you're not supposed to put limits on people.
Right.
Period.
And now
you never know what a person can do.
Right. Absolutely.
I've seen people who were shot in the head that are walking and talking.
Oh, yeah.
I was in rehab with a guy who was shot in the head and is walking and talking. So
Yeah,
You can do whatever you put your mind to, period.
absolutely. So good. Glad to hear all that, and great positive energy you got there. So
Thank you.
absolutely
Well, thanks for
beautiful.
having me. I'm so glad to be here.
I'm so glad you're here too.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, so I appreciate it again, and I appreciate comments and questions you were asking. That was awesome. So, and I'm
Yeah,
sure a lot of replays, a lot of people that weren't able to be here, they will watch it, and I'm sure you'll get questions, and I'll be let you know what's going on. So,
right,
but
right. Thank you. And never give up to everybody. That's what I just want to keep saying. Stay
awesome,
positive and never give up. Feel
perfect,
your feelings, but never give up.
yeah. All right, Heather,
Bye.
with no A.